Alrighty, so on our last episode, we didn't really add that much. We just threw in some art for our character, and we gave a little hat that he could pick up. Just a simple thing for, aesthetic stuff. It doesn't really look that good, but that's okay. It doesn't have to. Now, well, actually, the first thing I'm going to look at is I just want to see how this looks if I move his hat spot just a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to move his hat spot a little bit. Not super relevant, but we're just going to back that up a little bit. So we're going to make a enemy today, an enemy that chases our player around when he gets too close and does damage to him, and then maybe next time we'll make it so that we can damage the enemy back. So the enemy will just patrol up here, and we'll start working on that right now. So the first thing I want to do is, we already have a character that works. I'm going to just grab my player, and I'm going to copy him, I'm going to paste him, and I'll use this as my enemy. Now something else I'm noticing, my organization is starting to get a little messed up. So I'm going to create some sorting things in my sample scene. I'm just going to throw some coins in here. I'll call this coins. And all the coins in my map that are floating on my map, I'll just throw into coins just to save some space. Heal spot, heal spot. This is the dodge store that sells that dodge item that dodge ability that we made before. And lava. I'll create another one of these for lava. So just for sorting purposes, like, I'm not going to work on these lavas right now. I'm just going to move them in here so they're not in my way. And we created this new player. Now, he's not actually a player. This is going to be our enemy, and we're going to make a few changes to him. So I made a copy of my player. I'm renaming him, naming him to enemy. I'm going to give him a hurt box because he's going to be able to hurt us. The name change didn't work. He should be an enemy. Okay, so now he's enemy, and I'll make him red since he's a bad guy. So that'll be my enemy. Obviously, he's not going to work yet, and he still has a few more problems. Let's look inside of him. He has a camera. I only want a camera in my player, so I'll delete his camera. And that's fine. He could wear hats, potentially. Okay, this all looks good. This will be my enemy. Now, he doesn't need a player controller script because he's not a player, so we will remove that component. And now we have something to work with for our enemy. This looks pretty good. I'm going to create an enemy controller script to start controlling this enemy. So we'll right-click, create, mono behavior script, and I'll name it enemy controller. Same as we have a player controller, we'll also have an enemy controller. Now, this enemy controller script, I wanted to do a couple things. I wanted to make my enemy patrol back and forth on the beach. And then if my player gets in range of him, I want my enemy to start chasing my player around. So we'll add a few things to do that. And some of it will be based off of our player code, some of it won't. Let's see. So let me just see how I made my player work. So I have references to my health bar, don't need that. The hat spot, I might want to do that later. Maybe not right now. Oh, I might want to give him some health. Yeah, I'll give the enemy some health, why not? Let's start with that. I'll have a health bar. When his health reaches 0, we could say update. We could say if our health is less than 0, is less than 1, then die. Actually, let's just do set active false. Set active. This dot game object set active false. So if my health is below 0, is below 1, my enemy will die. That's something that's happening. The player will make that happen in the enemy too. Enemy doesn't need that. Doesn't have that. I'll definitely have a move speed. So our enemy will have some move speed. So I'll write public. We'll do a float. A floating point number means that it could have float. A floating point number means it could have decimal points. We'll call this speed. And we'll say, let's say 4.5f. Doesn't really matter. Floats usually end with the letter F, just to represent that they're floats. So we have speed, we have health. Now I need a few new things. I'm going to create references to his targets, and those will be the spots that he patrols back and forth from. So he'll have public, game object, let's call it target 1, and let's make a public game object target 2. Those will be the objects he tries to chase. So he'll go back and forth between target 1 and target 2, unless he sees the player, at which point he would need a reference to public game object player. And I'm actually just going to put player above those. So he'll have a reference to player, and he'll have a reference to 2 other targets that he'll patrol through. And to keep track of which one he's currently chasing, we'll make another number. We'll do public int current target. And his current target will be... His current target will be whichever one of these he's trying to chase right now. So he'll have a reference to a player and then 2 targets. And then he'll have this variable integer that keeps track of which target he's currently chasing. And we'll have to write some code to make it so that he chases certain targets. And he should also have a range of how far away he has to be from the player to chase them. So let's make that a public float aggression range. And let's start with, 5. So this means that if the player is within 5 units of him, he'll start chasing the player. Actually, let's do 10. Let's make him a little more aggressive. You could change that number in your game, and for each NPC, however you want. So I have 3 game objects here. Instead of doing it like this, the way I could do it is I could just make a list of game objects or an array of game objects, and that's actually what we're going to do. I'm going to delete these, and instead we're going to make a public game object, and we're going to do this little symbol here, and this means it's an array. So we're going to have a list of 3 game objects instead of having 3 separate game objects. This little symbol right here means it's a list of objects. It's an array of objects technically in this case. Lists are slightly different, doesn't really matter. And we'll call it targets. And we'll say that equals new game object. And we'll say the size of this goes in here. So this will be 3. So there'll be 3 game objects in here. Why is this not working? Oh, I missed a letter. That's fine. Okay. So this means that we're going to have 3 game objects in a list, an array of game objects. So it'll be the same thing we had before. It's just in one variable called targets. And the way that'll work is we will drag in our objects into this list. I'll show us that right now, just so we don't get confused while I move on from this topic. So now if I look at my enemy in game, my enemy, who doesn't have his enemy code yet, I have to drag my enemy code into my enemy. My enemy has this list of targets. Target 0, target 1, target 2. Now target 0, that'll be my player. So if he's chasing target 0, when current target is 0, he'll be chasing the player. Now I need to create 2 more targets for him. I'll create 2 empty targets. This is going to cause an error later. I'm aware of it. We're going to see it later. It's a common error, so we're going to look at it together. We're going to call this game object target 1, and we'll call this game object target 2. And the way his code will work is he'll go to target 1, and once he reaches target 1, he'll look for target 2. And then once he reaches target 2, he'll look for target 1. And then he reaches target 1, he'll look for target 2. Simple enough. And then I'll have one more piece of code that says if the player's nearby, he'll stop looking for the targets, and he'll start chasing the player. So we're going to have these 2 target game objects, and the enemy will kind of go after these 2 targets. Now in my enemy, I need to put them into this targets list. I'll do target 1 in here, and I'll do target 2 in here. Okay, it looks pretty good. Aggression range is 10, speed is 4.5, health is 100. So he doesn't have any code to move yet, so we're going to have to do that next. He's not going to do anything at the start, so I'm just going to get rid of the start function. And he's actually going to have 2 update functions. We've talked about this before. He's going to have update, and he's also going to have a fixed update. Fixed update is going to happen a set amount of times. I spelled something wrong. Void. It should be blue. It should be a Unity default. Fixed update. Okay, there it goes. Fixed update. This will run, I believe, every 60th of a second. Update will run as kind of at different rates, like faster or slower. We want anything that's moving our character to be in fixed update. So maybe to start with, we could just make him so he always moves towards target 0. So he'll just always be chasing us. We could start with that. That's a pretty standard way to do MTCs to start with. So we'll look at my player controller. How do I make my player move? So we're doing... Oh, we can't do this way. Okay, we'll do it a slightly different way. So we'll say that... What are we going to say? So fixed update, we need a direction. So we'll do vector 2. This is the direction we're going to go in. Direction. And the direction we're going to go in is whichever target we're currently targeting. So that's going to be targets. That's the list of targets. And then I could say this. Current target. So current target is just a number. It's going to be 0, 1, or 2. We'll start it at 0 for now. And current targets is going to tell me which targets to target. So if it's 0, I'll chase my player. So that's what we want. So we'll say targets, current target. Minus my current position. So this is what direction I want to go. Is if I subtract my current position. So I'm just going to explain this as clearly as I can. Once I figure out this error. Transform.position targets.current target dot position dot transform dot position. Okay, so what this is doing, the way the direction works is it's looking at where I want to go and it's subtracting where I am. That gives me some number, and if I add that number to where I am, then I'll be at where I want to go. So let's say I want to go to 6 and I'm at 3. I have to add 3 to get to 6. This will give me that number. That's obviously we're using 0, 0. We're using coordinate points, so we have it's more complicated than just that simple example I just gave. But if let's say my x is like 10, 2, and then my y is 2. And then let's say the place I want to go is like, 13, 5. Then I'm subtracting the 10, 2 from the 13, 5. I end up with, a 3, 3. And this is the direction I have to go in. I have to add 3, add 3. That's the direction I have to go in. And for now, maybe we'll just grab from the player controller. Maybe we'll just go that direction. Let's try this for now. I'm just going to grab this. Let's go to fixed update. Maybe this should actually be an update. I don't have a reference to my rigid body. Yeah, let's just keep that in here. It's fine. Direction times move speed. Did I not give us... Oh, we have a speed. RB. So let's get a reference to his RB, and let's see if this works. It might not work. We might have to change this around a little bit. Rigid body, RB. And then when we start, we'll say void start RB equals get component rigid body. Okay. So we start, we get our rigid body. This isn't happening yet. We're not losing health, so none of that matters. And then we're going to get a direction, which is where we want to go. And then we're going to go towards that direction times speed. This might be a little fast. I don't know if this is going to work perfectly. And by that I mean I expect this to not work perfectly. But let's look. Yeah, there is an error. Enemy. He needs to be looking for his rigid body 2D. Okay, component rigid body 2D. Common error, it's okay. I'm glad we saw it. So we need a rigid body 2D reference because he's a 2D character with a 2D rigid body. So now we load back in. And he's not getting a reference to his own rigid body. Maybe we should do this when we awake, which is sooner than start. So unassigned reference means that he's not finding his own rigid body when that code runs. Oh, well, it's because I didn't restart the game when I rewrote my code. Okay, so let's press play. So he should find his rigid body, and I believe he's going to very quickly start moving towards me. We might want to change this around a lot. I think I don't want to use the physics system for this. Okay, he is chasing me. And he is chasing me, it looks like, at his move speed, which is good. And then he catches me. I'm not gaining a lot of distance on him. That's okay. This seems to be working pretty well. Can I push him back? I can push him back. And then if his move, I'm just curious, if his move speed goes up, let's say his move speed is 6. Okay, he's always at the location. Yeah, he's super fast. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. He is super fast. I think I need to set his and the farther away I am, the faster he gets, which is an error. Yeah, the problem is the farther away I am, the faster he gets. So direction needs to be normalized. So it needs to be, basically this is getting like a 3,5. What this should do is this needs to go down to 1. Direction needs to be, so if this is X, like basically direction right now, if it's 3,5 is the direction I need to go, I need to change this to 1,1. That's what I need to do. So rigid body linear velocity. So I'm gonna say direction dot x equals direction dot x divided by direction dot x. No. We're just gonna say this. If direction dot x is greater than 0, we'll just say direction dot x equals 1. Else direction dot x equals -1, and then we'll say the same thing for y. So if it's positive, it'll just go to +1 and -1, and the speed will be affected by the speed variable instead of how big the direction is. And that should make him a little slower and make a little bit more sense about how he moves. Let's try it. I think that'll work pretty well. Again, we're just playing around with things. I've made enemies like this before, but I was just setting their stats. I wasn't using the physics system, so this is a little different than any implementation I've done before, but it should work fine. And it's more similar to how our player works, so consistency's good. So he's chasing me. Let's see how fast he goes once he gets to me. He's going at a pretty normal speed. Okay, so he is having some kind of error. He can't. Okay. So this is not ideal. He moves the same way I do. I want him to move smoother. Like, I can only move on 4 axes. He can only move on 4 axes. So I need the X and the Y to stay the same relative to each other. So I think if I just do something called a normalize, I think if I do direction dot, oh, it already knew. Direction dot normalize, it auto-filled it for me. It knew what I wanted. Direction dot normalize. So I think normalize, what that's going to do is it'll make him move a lot smoother, and I can get rid of all that other crud. Let's see. I think he's always going to move at the same speed now, but he can move without being as kind of jarring when he makes his turns. What Normalize does is let's say it's... Oh yeah, that's a nice enemy. Okay, this is what we're going to use. And then all we have to do now is we just have to set his targets. So he's moving towards whatever his target is. When he touches me, does he do damage? He does not. Why not? Why didn't he hurt me? I'm at 100 health. Maybe he's supposed to be a trigger? Oh yeah, he's supposed to be a trigger. Okay, sure, he could be a trigger. No, I don't want him to be a trigger. I'm going to change my player code so that when I collide with something, it hurts me. Because I want him to be able to hurt me. So I'm going to... Actually, let's focus on my enemy first. Let's fix my enemy, and then we'll make it so the enemy can hurt us. For now, I'll just make my enemy a trigger, because that's how our player's already working. But later, I kind of want to change that. Now, our enemy has these two targets, here and here. We want him to go between these two. And then, if he is close to us, then he'll come chase us instead. So let's do... And you know what? While we're at it, we might as well just copy our damage code from our player and put it into our enemy. So on trigger, enter 2D. So when our enemy enters a trigger, we're going to get rid of a lot of code from in here. Hat, hurt box, coin, lose health 5. He doesn't have the lose health code. Let's go grab the lose health code from the player. Lose health. And I guess maybe the enemy will also have a gain health script in case the enemy has some way to heal. Gain health. So when he touches a hurt box, he'll lose 5 health. That's fine for now. And if his health is 0, what happens? If health is less than 1, this game object set back to false. He should have a die function. Let's say void die. And when our enemy dies, we'll just do this. And I know there's a lot of code here now, but that's okay. And so when his health is less than 1, he should die. And for now, it'll do this. Later, maybe we'll make it so when he dies, he spawns in a coin. Could be cool. Okay. So we need the update function to change his current target. Right now, in fixed update, he chases his current target. His current target is always player right now. In this update function, we need to write some code for how he should pick his target. So we'll say, if his current target is 0, if his current target is 0 and the distance how do I do distance? And the vector3 dot distance. Let's do vector2 or 2D game dot distance between, if the current target is 0 and the distance between transform dot position and current target dot transform dot position, and current target is just the reference to the target. It's targets, and then in these square brackets, current target. So targets, square bracket, current target. That'll find the current target from our targets list, which is over here, if we remember. We have our targets list. One of these targets is our current target. Whichever one is our current target. So if current target is 0, and the distance between our transform.position and our target's current target transform dot position if the distance is less than aggression range, then the current target will become 1. So what this is doing is if I'm too far away from the enemy, then the enemy will start going to target 1. And then all the way at the end, we'll say if the distance between the enemy transformed opposition and the target 0, so if the difference between the enemy and target 0, which is the player, is less than the aggression range, chase the player. If it's greater than the aggression range, then stop chasing the player. So if the distance between, let's just say the player, if the distance between the enemy and the player is greater than aggression range, stop chasing the player. If the distance between the enemy and the player is less than the aggressive range, then the current target is the player whose target number is 0. Current target is 1. And now we have to say if I'm touching target 2, if current target is 1, and my distance to target 2, and my distance to target 1 actually, and my distance to target 1 is less than 1, so that means if I'm within 1 unit of target 1, and my distance to target 1 is less than 1, then my target's going to become 2. Current target equals 2. And then the exact same thing is going to happen again, but for target 2. So if I'm targeting target 2, when I reach target 2, then I'm going to target 1. That should be everything. I think we have a working enemy here. I think I'm pretty happy with it. And that took a really long time, but that's okay. This is my longest video yet. But we should, at this point, have a working enemy. Let's press play. And let's try it. Ah, there's a problem. He's trying to get to target 1, but target 1 is moving with him. When I first made these 2 targets, I mentioned this error. Target 1 and target 2 are children of this enemy. So we want to make sure that they're not children of this enemy. So I'm going to create a new empty game object. I'm going to call this enemy. Instead of calling this enemy, I'll call it enemy body. I'm going to create an empty game object called enemy. And I'm going to drag this all into enemy. And I'm going to drag target 2 and target 1 into that enemy. And now this should work. So I have my enemy. When he moves, he's not going to move his targets. And now when I press play, my enemy will chase those 2 targets, which will be cool. So scene, he's bouncing back and forth between those 2 targets. We see him doing that. When I play my game, when I walk over, he starts chasing me. When I get too far away from him, oh, he could walk through walls. That's not good. I could walk through walls as well. That's not good. When I get far enough away from him, he goes back to his patrol path. So he starts chasing me. I get far away from him. Why can he walk through walls? Now that's something we should fix. Oh, it's because he's a trigger. Enemy body. Let's turn trigger off. I don't want him walking through walls. And for now, he won't do damage to us, and that's okay. We'll fix it next time. We'll make a combat system next time. But he shouldn't be a trigger. We're going to have to change some of the health functions a little bit. He comes towards me. He hits a wall. If I get far enough away from him, he goes back to chasing his targets. When he gets in range of me, he chases me. When he touches me, I don't get hurt right now because he's not a trigger and I'm checking for touching triggers, but we could fix that later. And in fact, I think since we copied some code from the player, I think if I run him through this lava, I think that hurts him. So I'm just going to keep running him back and forth through this lava and see if I can kill him. Oh, there he goes. He died. I ran him back and forth through the lava bunch and he died. Okay, cool. So that's working. Nice. So I also died. Maybe I should go buy some more health. Heal back up. Cool. And maybe I should make it so I can't buy health once I'm over my max health, but whatever. Who cares? Or I could add another bar on top for overheal or something. Oh well. Okay, but this is cool. This is working. Our enemy chases us. He can take damage once we add maybe a sword with a hitbox on it. You can maybe hurt him with a sword. Maybe we'll give him a sword. Oh, and one more thing to show us is I can very quickly copy my enemy now. So I can click on enemy, I can copy paste, and I can move around multiple enemies if it lets me select it. Why can't I select it? I don't understand why it's not letting me move this. I'm selecting my movement tool. Okay, whatever. I can move him with this, so it's fine. And then I can move his targets. And if I move his targets, now this guy will be going between a different patrol path because I moved these two targets around. So the enemies will always chase the targets inside of them if we use this implementation the way I implemented it. And I didn't mean to do that. Layout default. If I click something weird, I could always click layout default. Oh, they're getting each other stuck. Are they chasing me, or they're just stuck on their patrol paths? Here, chase me. Reset, go back to your patrol. Okay, there we go. So they're trying to do their patrol paths. It looks like when they bump into each other, they kind of get each other stuck a little bit. So maybe we got to do something about that. Yeah, they're trying to do their patrol paths, but if they hit each other, they get stuck. So it's something to watch out for. I don't want to fix it right now because this video is already very long, so I'm going to end it here. But we can now add enemies that chase us around and do damage to us, hopefully. Alright, that'll be it for this one.